Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of 1025. I'm standing out by our bus garage here at St. John's. And I know when you think about the traditional school bus, you think of the big, long, yellow bus, and that's certainly not what we have. But we do have buses, we do have vans. And I want us to just think a little bit about our bus drivers during this time. Quick shout out to all of you who serve in that role. Thank you for what you've done. You know, I have fond memories of my school bus drivers growing up. One of my school bus drivers, his name was Hank. Hank had 3 fingers. 2 of them had been lost in a farming accident, so he always wore a glove on his right hand. But it was Hank who gave me my first job. We were the last stop on his route every day, and so we were responsible to sweep out the bus, so he didn't have to do that back at the bus garage. He paid us a quarter every day to do that. It was Hank who every Halloween gave every kid on the bus a full-size candy bar. It was Hank who every day as we hopped on that bus greeted us with a smile and told us he was glad to see us. I want us to think a little bit more about what a school bus driver does. You know, basically, bus drivers are responsible to deliver our most precious commodity to and from school. They're responsible for transporting our kids. But it's more than that. It's more than just a transaction. To be a bus driver is to make a relational investment. I mean, you can be that school bus driver who the kids hop on and sometimes they get a little squirrely in the back seats, and so you're constantly looking up in your mirror and watching them with a stare that says, if I have to, I'll pull over, sit down, be quiet, face the front. You can be that type of school bus driver. Or you can be a school bus driver who greets your kids with a smile every day and then promises to get them safely to and from their destination. When I think about what bus drivers do, maybe we can phrase it this way. Bus drivers deliver God's grace to our students. Now, no, maybe that's a different way of thinking about it, but let me explain. And here we need to distinguish between sacramental grace and common grace. Sacramental grace is the means by which God delivers the forgiveness of sins to us as believers. This is through baptism. This is through the Lord's Supper. But common grace is a way by which God shows his favor to all people, regardless of who they are. Common grace is the unexpected smiles that we receive. It's the gifts that come out of nowhere. It's the candy bars, the full-size candy bars at Halloween. I think of the words from 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 10, which says, each one of you should use whatever gift you've received to do what? To administer, to deliver God's grace in its various forms. That's common grace. It's saying whoever you are, whatever role you fill, find a way to show God's favor to people, to be an unexpected blessing to them. And I believe that's what our school bus drivers are. You know, right now, you might think that most bus drivers are laid off. I mean, there's no kids to transport back and forth to school. But I've seen some creative ways that bus drivers are still being used. Some bus drivers are delivering meals to various pit stops in communities around Minnesota. I've even seen some schools in northern Minnesota where there's spotty internet service. So the bus drivers are personally delivering homework to each student. But I got to share this really cool story about what our bus drivers are doing here at St. John's. Because they've been forced to pivot, and yet they're still doing God's work. When all of this started, we sat down with our staff and we talked about how we might have to creatively reimagine what each of them do. So some of our support staff gathered together, and knowing that they wouldn't have that interaction with kids every day in the school building, they decided every 2 weeks that they were going to put together a treat bag and then hop on our school van and personally deliver these to our students. And not just to deliver a treat, but to deliver a smile from a familiar face. And do you know what I call that? I call that grace. Just a glimpse of God's favor. So a shout out to all of our school bus drivers. Thank you for what you do. And in the comment section below, I'd love to hear some of your stories about the school bus drivers that you had, whether in the past or in the present, and how you've seen them personally deliver God's common grace to you. And I'll see you again next time.